the side of where Joe Rogan was doing his commentary. Dana White was basically sitting right in front of me. You kind of walked by Dana. I didn't even see you two make eye contact. You walked up on the ring apron. You were in Gray's corner. You hung your banner and that like everybody does when they get in. And it seemed like, now I'm not saying it was anything intentional. Dana actually turned around and started kind of having a conversation. And it seemed like you guys didn't do any eye contact, any even acknowledgement or something like that. What is going on with Randy Couture in the UFC right now?
Well, I think in that situation, I think I was pretty focused on Gray and whatever he needed. Anything that I got going on is moot at that point. It doesn't matter.
Right, you're there for your fight.
Yeah, Dana's got his own thing. He's running a show, and so it was nothing needed to happen or be said or done at that point. We didn't run into each other face to face, but we don't really have any issues. I mean, I don't have any hard feelings. It's unfortunate that the lawsuits occurred now, and they kind of changed the playing field a little bit by doing that. But I spent 10 years of my life, better part of 10 years of my life with the UFC, and had a lot of great opportunities because of that. And at this stage of things, I want to make the Fedor fight happen, and the UFC can't happen. I won't make that happen at this point. So it's up to me to kind of wait my contract out. Obviously, I can't breach the contract. It expires in July, and find a way to make that fight happen. The lawsuit has to do actually with my employment contract, which was pretty shaky. They don't really have any merit. They're citing that by me going to the IFL and HDNet and cornering my fighters, that I somehow breached my contract in promoting those other events. But I've been doing that my whole career, so I don't know why it's an issue now.
Now, is this a thing that's just vindictive on their part? Were you surprised by the lawsuit, or is this a maneuvering thing for something down the road when your contract runs out by the date? Because you say it's the date, UFC says that it was a so many fight contract.
Well, it's both things are true, but one doesn't extend the other. So there's nothing in the contract that says I have to take the fights they offer. I think at this point, I don't really know what's going to happen. Again, it's disappointing that things have deteriorated to the point that they have. But again, I understand and wasn't terribly surprised by the papers, but it's all water under the bridge at this point. What's first and foremost in my mind is finding a way to make the Fedor fight happen. The rest of it is it's history, as they say. So.
Okay. Now, I know you've said over and over again that you want Fedor. I mean, that's the guy that you want. There's been reports that you've said, in fact, I was at your press conference here in October when you did the thing here from Extreme Couture, and you basically said that he's the only guy out there on the horizon for you. Why wouldn't you want to fight Nogueira again, or the winner of Nogueira Sylvia? Well, first off, right off the bat, what do you think of the interim title? Is that is that kind of I don't want to say a joke, but you're the champ by their own admission, yet they're having a championship fight.
Yeah, it's semantics, really, and I would never say it's a joke. I mean, those are two very, very skilled fighters. And
right.
They're fighting for a championship, in all intents and purposes, the heavyweight title, because I don't see myself as the heavyweight champion. I resigned in October. So, again, it boils down to semantics. There's a championship clause in my contract. If they still consider me the champion at the end of the term, they can extend me for a year. That's where all that comes into play. And at some point, the state's going to have to get involved and decide how it really reads, and when I'm really free to go and pursue the Fedor fight. I got nothing against Nogueira, but I want to fight the best guy in the world, settle the debate.
Right.
Nogueira got beat up by Fedor. Doesn't make any sense for me to fight Nogueira. I want to fight Fedor. It's that simple.
Now, with the Fedor fight, and certainly everybody in the world wants to see that. Dana White has said over and over again, and I've talked to a lot of different people in the media, that Fedor is overrated, that he's had some guys that weren't as good as they thought, that they've kind of handed him some people. And Dana is one of the people who has certainly said that he has said all along that he thinks that you would dominate Fedor.
Well, that's yet to be seen, and of course Dana's going to say that, because Dana didn't sign him to a contract with the UFC. There'd be a completely different tune coming from the UFC if they had signed Fedor. Just like Brock Lesnar is the real deal. It all depends on who signs on that dotted line. I think anybody who's anybody in mixed martial arts respects and recognizes Fedor as the #1 fighter in the heavyweight division. Obviously, I'd like to contest that, and the only way to settle that debate is to get in there and have the fight. So whether or not I dominate him or not, I don't know. I certainly feel confident in my ability to beat him, but it's going to be a great fight. He's very well-rounded, very explosive, very dynamic fighter in the heavyweight division, and he's proven that. Maybe he hasn't fought the best opponents in recent months, but he's definitely fought the best of the best, and Nogueira is a perfect example.
All right, Randy Couture with us, Saturday morning hangover, Fox Sports Radio 1460. Live here from Extreme Couture, right over here on Sunset and right off of Valley View. Come on over if you want to check out MMA Fighting or just see a who's who list. Tell you what, this is an awesome place to do. You got a gift shop here as well. I'm going to throw a couple names out there, some guys that I'd like to maybe see you fight. I know that you want Fedor, and everybody wants to see you do that. I was actually talking to your striking coach, Ron Frazier. I've been a friend with his for a long time. And I told him that with your stand-up ability being so much better now, I would actually like to see you drop back down to 205 and fight Liddell again to maybe avenge those last 2 losses that you had against him, because your stand-up and striking seems so much more improved. Would there be any interest on your part to ever fight Chuck again, or do you just want Fedor and then see what happens from there?
I've been asked that question a bunch after I came out of retirement and fought Tim. Is there any chance you're going to come back down and fight Chuck? I don't know. Does anybody really want to see that a 4th time?
I know I do.
You know,
Is it diminished because Chuck lost to Quinton twice?
I don't know that it's diminished, but as far as my career and my standing, and right now I consider myself a heavyweight, does it really help me out? And you know, yeah, if I was going to go back to the light heavyweight division, why wouldn't I want to fight Quinton? I mean, he's the #1 guy,
right,
probably in that weight class, and that's what it's all about. So, not that I have anything against Chuck. I mean, obviously, it just had a great fight, and it showed that he's got a lot more fight left in him against Vandalay, which is a very tough opponent. But you know, it's not, I don't walk around with vengeance in my heart, like, oh, I'd like to get those back. I mean, in those days, he was better than I was. So the first time I had his number, it's just the way fights go. So.
What about another fight with Tim Sylvia? I know he said he'd like to get you again, or do you feel that that's one that you've already done, and so you want to just move on?
Yeah, that's one I've already done. I don't know why I'd want to do a rematch. I didn't really want to do a rematch with Belfort, but you know, it made some semblance of sense that he got back in the mix by beating Marvin Eastman. You know, it really doesn't interest me all that much. At this stage of my life and my career, you know, I want to make that big push, fight the top guy, because I realize I've only got a couple fights left, honestly. And so, you know, truthfully, if I fight Fedor and win or lose, I could walk away after that. If the Fedor fight doesn't happen, I could walk away right now and be perfectly content. I feel like I can still compete and I'm physically as good as I think I've ever been, but the fights have to make sense. It's not fighting just to fight.
Right. Randy Couture with us, Saturday morning hangover, Fox Sports Radio 1460. Got one more name to throw at you, and I'm going to venture that not too many people, if anybody's ever asked you this one before. Since Tito backed out against Dana, would you like to get in there with a boxing match against him?
Against Dana?
Sure. I mean, you know, he was all ready to fight Tito, so why not you? Maybe you can settle it that way.
Two old guys in there boxing it out. Yeah, I don't. That's not very interesting to me. You know, I like Dana.
You put it on pay-per-view and make money for the troops.
Dana's got a lot of passion for this sport. And he may not always make a rational decision, but I respect his passion for the sport most definitely. I don't really see any need to fight him.
I didn't either. I just thought I'd throw it out there just get a smile out of you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, another thing that obviously you're doing, you're kind of in Hollywood now. You're kind of a hot ticket there. You did the Scorpion King movie. What else do you have coming up there? Can we expect to see you in some more movies? Maybe some TV roles or something? I mean, obviously you want to fight Fedor, but I mean, there's a lot of other opportunity for you. Where's the acting career going? Because again, at the UFC Pearl, Sylvester Stallone was there. Rambo's coming out again.
Yeah.
Sly's 60 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and still looks decent for 60. I mean, you're a hell of a lot younger than that, so you know you could have a lot of years in the acting business.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the opportunities I've gotten in recent years to do the acting. The Scorpion King was huge, working on the unit with David Mamet at Red Belt. Did a Rob Schneider film that's coming out. Red Belt and Big Stan are both coming out this spring. Scorpion King will come out in August. I've got 2 more pictures and a TV show laid on for this year. The writer's strike is kind of fudging everything up a little bit, but I'm supposed to go to China in April and shoot this movie called Mandrake, which I play a pretty key character in. It'll be a lot of fun.